Let me go over Daniel chapter 2. King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, and he gave it to spoke to Daniel concerning that matter. He said, "Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image, this great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hand, which smote the image upon his feet, that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, and the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floor. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote them, that smote the image, became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth." Now, the interpretation, God broke this down in category. This image behind me, as you see, I described the two this to show where it was consistent with the United States of America through characteristics. Now, but he broke this down in categories where you could understand each part, the function of each part separately, and which one would be. The head of gold and the silver, God will put a crown on it when he's talking about that part. And even when the brass shows up separated from this, God will show this part with a crown. But however, the brass, the iron, and the feet of clay is all of the same unit because it is the military fighting forces of these rich nations. The head of gold, the silver, is the commanders in chiefs of these nations, and the brass is the commander in chief of the military fighting forces, which is symbolized by the legs of iron and the feet of clay. When you notice when I show you these parts where God separated the two by putting a king on a crown on each one of them heads, you will know this here is the part come from the prophecy of Daniel chapter 2, where the head of gold, the shoulders of silver, and the brass, and the feet of iron. Okay, let me read a part of this here. Uh, Show you how this came to be. It said, "This is the dream," verse 36. "We will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven has given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the heaven, has he given into thy hand, and has made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold." In other words, he given Nebuchadnezzar, the Chaldees, the ruler of the earth. And after thee, this is after King Nebuchadnezzar's time. This is the descendants of Nebuchadnezzar that he's talking about, which would be the United States of America, which would be the CIA. CIA, the strategist for war. This is who Nebuchadnezzar was. He was over the Chaldees. The Chaldees was the stargazers trying to determine how to get up on the brink of the earth. And they did with the space shuttle. I showed this in previous report. "And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and as and an other third kingdom of brass, which shall bear ruler over all the earth." This is World War III. "And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron break in pieces and subdue things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. This is the military fighting forces attached onto the human being, the tanks and everything. It will break in pieces and bruise over there in the land of Abraham. And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of pottery clay, and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of iron. For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with marley clay, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. In other words, the flesh is weaker than the iron, but yet it hath to use the iron to do its will. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with marley clay, verse 4 to 3, they shall mingle together themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. In other words, the military vehicles can only do something if the man, but when the man is cut off, then the military vehicle will not cling to him. It will set out still. And in the days of these kings, the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other peoples, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. This is where we're going right now. But the United States headed now. When they're sending these extra troops over to Afghanistan to enhance themselves, they're going to fight with Jesus Christ before they leave. They're not coming back until Jesus Christ take over. Now, but he broke the image down and placed a crown on the head of each of the image, which is united as one body back there as one symbol: a head of gold, the chest and the arm of silver, the breast and the thighs brass, the legs iron and part clay, and the feet part iron and part clay. Let me take this down and show you a small part, and you just refer back in your mind to this part as I go and show you the breakdown. This comes from Revelation chapter 12. God spoke concerning this matter as he showed you how they came in the kingdom of God. He gave you, there were 7 heads. The dragon came in the kingdom with having 7 heads and 10 horns. The dragon is a symbol to identify the nation who would come. As the dragon is a fire-breathing creature, it letting you know that they need no fuel. It's letting us know that this nation that would come in here would be a nation of superpower having weapons of mass destruction, which would need no fuel. And this is the dragon would be in these missiles they would use. This is the red dragon. And the 7 nations which come in there would be rich nations who would dominate with such weapons. These would be the nations out of the north spoken of in Jeremiah chapter 1, I believe verse 14. And it gives you 7 of them. These 7 nations together will have 10 military fighting forces, as spoken of in Daniel, in the prophecy of Daniel chapter 7. 4 would belong to the head nation, the head of gold, which is the United States of America, because it have a nation of a military, of an air force, army, navy, and marine. These are the military fighting forces, and their 6 other nations would be united with them during World War II, superpower nations. These would be other rich nations of the world.